A year ago at this time, Mitch, who's in for Wolf, a year ago at this time, it was such a thin position, defensive line for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yes.
And even into the season. And then some guys kind of stepped up. You're like, all right, but then they would get hurt. And so it was just like, it was never a position of depth. This is where, in a lot of ways, I think Nick Rallis won a lot of people over of like, man, you're already playing with a team on paper that isn't fully formed yet on defense. Like, clearly, Monty Ossenfort addressed defense this year, but that's because he addressed offense last year and the year before.
Mm-hmm.
So you were already, if you're Nick Rallis, dealing with a defense that wasn't fully formed. And then as he would get things to work, guys would just go down and be hurt.
You know what it is? It's that meme of, do you know the pipe that's like funneling water to that large individual at the end in a chair, and it's like guzzling all the water? And then there's the one scrawny individual underneath that's just getting the little drops that are coming out of the crack. That was, for the last 2 years, the offense.
Yes.
Funnel the offense.
Everything.
Defense, you just get the little droplets.
Just be there.
Now it's kind of reversed, but I don't think the offense is necessarily suffering from not getting anything this offseason.
No, because they already got their stuff. I mean, the defense got their stuff this offseason. They're not going to use every pick except Hayden Connor on defense next year. They're not going to only predominantly add defensive players in free agency next year because they did it this year.
Right.
But the result of it was defensive line that was so thin and got depleted is pretty loaded now, man. Like, it to the point where some guys that you would love if you're another team are just going to get let go by the Cardinals here at some point throughout camp. So what exactly are they going to do here?
Well, so I was looking at the depth chart yesterday, and then it ties perfectly to Tyler Drake's latest piece on ArizonaSports.com, presented by YRefi, where he points out where the one area where you expect to be one of the bigger strengths of this team also has a glut, like a massive glut.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the depth chart on ESPN the other day. I'm going to just read names, and you tell me where to stop.
Okay. Wait, so am I telling you where to stop if, like, that guy goes? Or
no, just tell me where to stop where you're like, I'm comfortable with all of those guys.
Okay.
Walter Nolan III.
Yep.
Dalvin Tomlinson. Justin Jones.
Yep.
Darius Robinson. Calais Campbell. Bilal Nichols. Elijah Simmons.
So, hold on.
Dante Stills.
You have to stop now because Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols are guys that I liked going into last year, especially Justin Jones.
Mm-hmm.
That are, do you think they'll both be back this year?
I mean, they're listing Jones as an edge on this depth chart. I'm not sure how the Cardinals are going to approach it. I was under the impression he was brought in as an interior guy.
Uh-huh.
Now it feels like they're like the third line, so to speak. Like, I would imagine that Walter Nolan and Dalvin Tomlinson would get like the 75% of the snaps. Calais Campbell and Darius Robinson right behind them. And then it's Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones and Dante Stills. Like, that alone on the interior is 7 guys.
Yeah.
And there's no way that they keep all of those guys in the final
they kept
cuts.
6 on the defensive line last year.
And I'm not including edge rushers.
No.
And edge rushers play on the line now.
Yeah. So and Darius Robinson is the sort of player that maybe they can, when Nick Rallis is making his case to keep all of these defensive guys and they're cutting the roster down to 53, Darius Robinson can kind of slip around a little bit, and you might be like, yeah, look, I'm asking you to keep 7 defensive linemen, but really it's like 6.5 because Darius Robinson could play over here too. But I mean, all those, like, is Bilal Nichols, some of it's going to come down to camp. Mm-hmm. But this is a team now that if you're another team that needs defensive line help, you're looking at the Cardinals specifically when cutdown day comes because you're like, probably whoever they cut, we're going to take.
There's just as much of a pressure on the free agent guys that were brought in this time around, so Dalvin Tomlinson and Calais Campbell, because if we think back to the 4 key guys that Monty Ossenfort signed last year, Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Mack Wilson Sr., one of them's already done for the year in Sean Murphy-Bunting. 2 of them barely played last year because of injuries. And the 4th one was the bright spot of the defense next to Kaiser White in the middle.
Yeah.
He is the least I'm concerned about in Mack Wilson.
Mack Wilson,
Sr.
I have no worries about him.
Sean Murphy-Bunting, as we said, is not going to play this year. So that already feels like a lost contract, to be quite frank. And nothing against the guy, but we're evaluating this from a performance standpoint.
I will say, too, before you go to those other 2 guys, with Sean Murphy-Bunting, and this just kind of speaks to where the defense was last year, he was the guy that, I mean, a lot of times you'd watch him be like, dude, like, come on. Like, what are we doing?
I had a lot of frustrations watching him play last year. The Green Bay game drove me nuts.
But
it was like every other play he was getting flagged.
Yes. But at the same time, he led the team in forced fumbles and interceptions. Now, they weren't extremely high numbers, but it's just like, so that is kind of a sign of where they were last year to where I'm hoping whoever leads the Cardinals in interceptions this year has more than 3, and whoever leads the team in forced fumbles has more than 2.
Yeah, that's always good.
Or it's like 10 guys with 2 forced fumbles.
And somebody to break in the double-digit sack column, because I think their leading sack getter had like 5.5.
5 last year for Zaven Collins.
They didn't do a lot of the sexy numbers last year. They did a lot of the analytics stuff is where they got a lot of darlings on their side. But to my further point about the 4 guys brought in last year, yes, there's a ton of pressure on Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones to perform because they're in year 2 of 3-year deals. And if they don't perform this year, they could easily just be gone this year or next year.
Yeah.
Whereas there's also that pressure on Dalvin Tomlinson and Calais Campbell because there's a 25% hit rate on the 4 guys you brought in last year. Well, now here's 2 more that you expect to do a majority of the reps. And what if they miss? Like, what if Monty misses again on another free agent class? Then I'm going to start to be worried about him.
I would be a little, I mean, those 2 names you just gave, though, we know what Calais Campbell is. I mean, his body of work is almost 2 decades deep.
And I don't mean as like a diss on these 2 individuals. They're severely better than Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones.
I think it's indicative of where the team is now, too, where they could go out and get a Dalvin Tomlinson as opposed to just trying to get guys to, not that Justin Jones was a fill out the roster guy, but like 2 years ago felt like a fill out the roster guy. Last year was like, okay, these guys could start for us, but we're probably not a playoff contender.
Yes.
Now they're adding guys to contend for the playoffs. I will say, though, and I mean, this means nothing. How camp plays out is going to be what matters.
Yes.
I'd like to see Justin Jones just to see what he could do in this defense. And I know he played a very little bit last year, and maybe it's not feasible. I don't know. But I'm intrigued still a year later by what he could do for this defense.
At the same time, you have to consider there's other guys too. So it's like you want to see Justin Jones. So do you want to see less of Zaven Collins?
No.
Do you want to see less of Darius Robinson?
I want to see a lot more of Darius Robinson on the field.
BJ Ojolari? And I know some of these guys are edge, some of these are interior, but they have all of these guys.
Oh,
LJ Collier,
that's the reality.
Jordan Birch was a draft pick. Elijah Simmons was undrafted.
Baron Browning yet?
There's a ton of guys.
Yeah. There's another one that we're forgetting too.
Xavier Thomas
is the one. Yeah.
Owen Papo.
Yeah.
Michael Walker, they signed in free agency. There's a lot.
They have a surplus.
Did you guys say Dante Stills yet?
I think a couple times.
Yeah,
just don't play a West Virginia sounder as a result of us saying.
I won't. I'm just saying, good problem to have.
Yeah, it is, right? I mean, this is a
great problem, but sooner or later they're going to need to figure out how few of these guys they want to keep.
Well, it's going to be in the next.
Or do they pull from a different area, and then you're weaker at a different position because you have less depth there.
When you're going to Dante Stills and be like, could you play running back if we needed you?
Could you play right guard?
How many of you guys can play special teams? Could you play right guard? It's a good problem to have. It's not necessarily an issue in the sense of like when we were going into the baseball season, it was like, man, can you have 6 starting pitchers for the D-backs, or is one of them going to be upset?
Good depth is not an issue.
Yeah, this is not an issue. It's just more of you're not going to get to keep it.
Yes.
Like you're going to have to give some of it up because other teams are going to want it. And
then as it turns out, the Diamondbacks depth it figured itself out because Jordan Montgomery was hurt before the year started, and then they lost Corbin Burns.
Yeah, I mean, you hope that doesn't happen in camp, but football is football. Probably one of these guys will end up missing time, and then another guy will be an opportunity or whatever. But it's nice to have depth at that position of all of them.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.